doing. It's my daughter.
I
It's pale snowflake at the end of here. Well, she's from Madison, Wisconsin, so. I'm like my string cheese.
understand these things.
Yes. Yep, thank you. Yeah, we're doing shoveling out. My husband has to be to work, and so shoveling out, making sure cars start. And then when we're done here, I have to drive my son to work, and I have two of my grandkids, my daughter's two kids here this weekend. So it's real life. And I thought about canceling this, and I went, why? It's real life. Sometimes you have the things you need to make a recipe, and sometimes you don't. And you just do the best you can.
Absolutely.
And usually I try to have some things on hand, some staples. So I usually always have like brown rice and lentils, and then of course onions, celery, carrots, things like that, and just things like that.
People will not go hungry.
People will not go hungry. This is a very true statement. And it will warm them up, I used to be a cook at a theater camp out in the Black Hills.
Oh, wow.
And these are all college kids. And I had made, I think it was split pea soup and ham and the whole thing. And the director was delighted, and everybody else is like, what is this? You expect me to eat this? Yeah. It's green. And my kids were like, oh, yay, because they grew up on this. And it was a real eye-opening thing. I had a daughter in college at that time, and I called, because some of them refused to eat leftovers. And I called her up, and I'm like, is this normal? And she's like, not yet. I live on leftovers. Yeah. And and I call them plandovers. You do things like I would make sloppy joes one day, and then the next day I made a sloppy joe pizza. And they were like, they didn't know if they could eat it. So it was just very interesting. So my kids and all my grandkids are used to this. Yeah. And so it's what I call real life. So what I'm doing, I'm making my there's Judy. This, when you said, did I connect with Judy Jones? I was thinking of this Judy Jones, and I went, wait, no. Oh, that's right. So
I thought, I didn't put the MD after it. And I think later I thought, should have put the MD after that.
It's okay. She may be used to that. Hi, Judy. Judy is also in California.
Hi, Judy.
Yeah, but I'm in Southern California. I looked you up the other day, Carol, because I saw your name on something. Yeah. I have a friend here named Carol Bade.
There's somebody that it's not a common name, ironically, but boy, I get confused with there are enough of them.
Yeah, well, Carol and Francis live down here in Irvine, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're in Irvine?
No, I'm a little bit north of there. I'm in Orange, the city of Orange.
City of Orange, okay.
Yep, Orange County, city of Orange.
Where it's probably still much warmer than it is here.
You think?
I'm pretty darn sure about that.
On your worst day, Judy will be warmer than you.
That's right. So Judy's been to some of these before, and as she knows, like last month's call, because I do these monthly, she had some things in her
64.
Robin at my age. She had some produce that she had wanted to use before it went bad. So while I was making that, she was doing that. And I think Sandy was doing another dish. And so what we often use this time as, so even though I might share recipes and everything, it's a great time for people to make food together and batch cooking or whatever. And then you have it for the next few days. So
Yeah. Good to know.
Actually, I think I'm going to be eating this time rather than fixing.
you're going to be eating.
Yeah.
So no, you're not making anything in your kitchen this time?
Oh, maybe in a little bit, but not. First
Okay.
things first, I'm going to have some veggies, some crudité here.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing. I know I had shared with Carol. Oh no, it was somebody else. It was another person. A recipe for pistachio pate that she could use, because that was something that she could have, and it's a nut that won't exacerbate gastrointestinal issues. So that's a little gem and nugget. Pistachios are good for your gut.
There you go.
Not mine.
Well, yeah, you can't, because is it tree?
I have a tree nut allergy.
Right. That's right. So you could you can do seeds, right?
And I can do cashews and almonds, strangely enough, because they're not proper tree nuts like a
Correct.
walnut or a pistachio.
Well, almonds are more bush, but yeah. And the other thing to that is I have seen it happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time, but I've seen it happen where as people heal their digestive system, their food allergies and sensitivities go away. So it's always a motivation, I guess you could say.
I'd be surprised by that one, because it's something I've had as long as I can remember.
Right.
I'd help my mom.
And you may have had digestive issues most of your life.
Yeah, I'd help my mom chop up nuts for Christmas cookies, and my arms would stick out.
Oh, wow. It doesn't sound pleasant.
No, but that's how you find out you can't do things, is you try them and you go, oh, that didn't work.
That didn't feel so good. Oh, another Carol.
What? Another?
There's another Carol. Yeah. I don't think this Carol. Yeah. I don't think she's been to one of these before. So I'm putting some olive oil in my pan, and I've already kind of chopped up my carrots. And so you don't have this recipe, because this is a recipe I'm using from my kitchen clean out, because we had this big storm, like a foot of snow. And so didn't have that opportunity to go to the store. And it's okay, like Carol was saying earlier, nobody's going to starve. I have my daughter and her two kids here. And they like the idea of having some soup, because it's a bit chilly.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. Just a tad.
What is the temperature there?
It's about 0.
Oh,
so
yeah, roughly.
Warmed up.
Yeah. Just a second here. It has to be warm enough to snow. So it actually had gotten up into like the 20s and 30s over the last couple of days, and then it snowed, and then it gets cold. But I'm grateful actually for the snow. I'm grateful that my husband didn't have to go to work. I'm sure they would have loved it if he had, because he's a nurse and everybody is being tested positive, even though they're taking the precautions and everything. So he could have gone back to work, and I'm grateful he didn't. And then my son works at McDonald's. Isn't that ironic? And they closed because it was just, they don't want anybody out driving around. So
yeah.
So I was grateful that we were all here and safe and sound and snuggled in. But the snow cover, if I was worried we weren't going to have more snow, because we had almost no snow left. And I was worried about that because it contributes to drought. Mm-hmm. Plus it had been like, minus 35 to 50 below here. And if you don't have that cover, it freezes everything way deep down. So like our septic tank and all that stuff, it could have done some nasty jobs to it. So anyway.
What do you have in that pan besides carrots?
Nope,
Carrots and onions. I just did an onion, and now I'm going to go get some celery and put that in. I don't have one of these big fancy kitchens. So, again, it's real life, right?
The cat was trying to join us.
She's always welcome.
Well, this is a new cat. My old cat passed away back in August.
Yeah.
This one.
That's why I was a little confused, but I wasn't going to say anything here.
Well, my friend Greg had open heart surgery, and he really can't take care of the cat while that's going on. This cat's a young, crazy kitten who roars around the house, and he's named Rocket for a reason. And he'll be up here in the middle of things again before long.
So, what kind of cat is it?
Just your basic tabby stripes and white. I don't know.
Like a tabby?
Yeah. Partly tabby stripe, partly white.
Okay. We have lots of cats. They're supposed to be outdoor cats and kittens. And because it got so cold here and we are so tender-hearted, we now have a cat house. Oh, geez. Here, you want to say hi to everybody? This is my granddaughter, Macy.
Hi, Macy.
Hi.
Oh, hello. You are so silly. I'll get her to be in here and help me.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Oh, you're anything but shy, at least everywhere else. Macy is 10. Oh, the other Carol left. So I am now putting in my other celery.
I need to do that. I need to clean out the fridge and
Yes,
everything
it
and
was
make
a
a lot of
wonder.
food.
I'm actually literally seriously doing that. Like I have all of my shelves out that I've taken out and washed them all down and scrubbed out the refrigerator and
Oh, cool.
So I am really cleaning out my refrigerator. Mourning the loss of a couple of produce that I thought had more time with us.
Yeah. I need to do that. I really need to do that, including scrubbing the shelves and.
Yep. It's just a really great way, they have all these wonderful fancy recipes and things out there, but it's a really nice way to just say, okay, what do I have and how can they go together? And, how can they fit our different food parameters? I know Carol did biome, I did biome, lots of us do biome, and we have our superfoods and joy, all of that. And it's like, so where does this fit in there? And
I was gonna do that while I had a discount at the end of the year, and I let it get away from me, and I didn't get it done.
well, they're having another one.
Yeah, they're good. Just they're
Yeah.
we've not missed anything.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure.
and you, if you are ready to do it, just email me and I'll send you my affiliate link and my discount codes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. So this is, because I have so much fancy technology here. This is, see if you can see it there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
And you can hear it.
Yes. And it's in olive oil, right?
It is in olive oil. Sometimes I use coconut oil. Sometimes I use olive oil. It all varies. I also use butter or ghee. Some people use duck fat. Honestly, I can't even find duck fat around here. I suppose you could buy it online, but it's just not my, I don't know, just never done that. Maybe it's because I've raised ducks before for some reason. Same with chickens. It's like, yeah, those are my girls. All right, so those are gonna just cook down for a little bit. And so one of the things that happens when you do this, I think I'm gonna add a little bit of salt as well, is it starts to caramelize basically. And so this is an important part of the soup. But if you have blood sugar issues, is this one thing you want to be careful of? Adding the fat along with the protein and everything will help with that. So I do this butcher box. And so what I'll be doing in here is I'll get everything and I'll cook it all up ahead of time. So I have it in the freezer. And so then once this is a little more ready, then I'll put that in. So you have the fiber from the lentils and the fat from the meat, and that will slow down the blood sugar. Using different herbs and spices like thyme will also do that. So it's not only that it tastes good, it's going to help you with all of that. And good fiber, again, because everything starts in the gut, it's going to help with that motility and move things through so that your body has a better chance of reacting to the glucose and insulin balance as they do their jobs. The other thing too is that whole color aspect of it. Lentils are kind of that greenish color that also, as you look at it, as your eyes perceive it, it helps in healing the heart. So that's just something to add to that. Hello? No, she just ran to Dollar General real quick. All right, I'll let her know you called. Real life, the phone always rings. And so as I'm looking at this, the onions are getting a little translucent. I can tell just by looking at it, that the, and this is really good for nasal, like the steam coming up. It's like, oh yeah, there we go. And the carrots are getting softer. So. So when you make soup, what kind of things do you guys use in addition? Do you have sandwiches? Do you use crackers? What kind of things do you use?
I'm usually just all about the soup.
Okay. All right. Because, you know, some people will have salad on the side or.
I was going to say it varies tremendously with what's on hand, you know.
Yes.
Soup is my main course. And then it's like, all right, sometimes I do put brown rice in it, sometimes, you know, and that's enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things I like about soup is it can be that do all. You know, it's kind of like a stir fry.
Yes.
Oh, I've got all this stuff. What do I do? Well, I can make a soup or I can make a stir fry or something like that. So I'm just putting in 1 clove of garlic. For a really long time, I could not eat garlic because it was an avoid food for me. But now it is not. But I did use, oh boy, that does make your nose run. Shallots. So I was supposed to avoid both onions and garlic. So I used leeks and shallots.
Yeah.
And that worked okay. And it was nice developing that relationship with them.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting you could have those because they're all in the same family.
Yeah, it was there were different parts of it because I did some research on, you know, what was it in the garlic or the onions that did that. And so I'm trying to remember the name of the word. It began with they're like sulfites basically that were in the garlic. And it was interesting because I also, and I still have to avoid alfalfa sprouts, but garlic and alfalfa sprouts are the 2 foods absolutely that people who have lupus have to avoid.
Oh.
And so then I start looking at my genetics to see, because I've never heard of anybody in my family having lupus. And I did have some of the genetic factors that contributed to lupus. I just didn't have any, I hadn't pulled the trigger on it. And quite frankly, I don't want to.
No.
So once I realized that, I was happy to, maybe not all the time, but I could live with the idea and do these things to feed the right gut bacteria and starve out the other bacteria. I'll be right back.
It's obviously cooking. I see steam.
Yes. Very true.
So tell me about you, Carol.
Well, let's see. I live in Berkeley, been here just 15 years. I moved out here from Wisconsin after my granddaughter was born. I thought she is too far away and came out here, and it's expensive out here, as you well know.
Yeah, I do.
So I sold my house in Wisconsin and used the money to help remodel the house here. They had a house. So I live in a little grandmother's suite upstairs. And
nice.
so it's very nice. I really like it. The company, I have my space, they have their space, but we share the kitchen and obviously other areas. But at any rate, so it's very nice. I like California. I wish I was in the warmer Southern California. I miss what you have. I like it just a little warmer. So
yeah, but I like summers up there better.
Yeah.
It doesn't get so warm.
Yeah.
Here it gets too warm.
Yep.
But at least it's not the kind of humid we got back east.
That's exactly right. I have a nephew that lives down. I can't. It's near Irvine, but I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an E. But anyway, and I've been down there in the summer when it was pretty warm, and it's nowhere near as bad as Wisconsin was in the summer when it was warm. You're right. The humidity makes it
Yeah,
old.
I'm originally from Tennessee, so I know about humidity.
Yeah, yeah. That whole corridor up the center of the country.
Yeah.
Humidity. So I don't miss that, but I do miss the heat. They just the pure heat. So,
Mm.
but
Well, it gets pretty humid here.
yeah. No, well, you're still in the central part of the country, so that
Right.
that Gulf Coast air comes up in the summer and
Oh boy,
steams
does
you
it.
all. Steams y'all. So
And that's why we can grow such beautiful tomatoes. Ooh,
yes,
that. My hair has a mind of its own.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
grateful I
overdue.
have lots of hair. So
Yeah.
that's,
that's it. They're just not bald. That's all I can get. Just,
I'm
yeah,
overdue for getting mine trimmed.
me too. I was supposed to have it done right before I left to go, or during the time I was with my mom.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that was the least of your concerns at that point, I'm sure.
yeah, I just didn't take the time. Well, that's not it. They went back to get the rest of it. Yeah, that was, make me sad having to do that.
Yeah.
I take it
Next
you lost
week is
mom.
her, huh?
I take it you lost your mom recently, or fairly
Yes, the week before Thanksgiving.
Ah,
So, yeah. It wasn't unexpected, but it was quick. It was much faster than, it was like starting this summer, it was all of a sudden like, and, yeah. So she lived in Florida. So I was down there. I had gone down when she first started having some health issues in July. Talk about hot.
yeah, yes.
I am not a Florida girl, I think.
Well, they have the heat and the humidity.
Oh, man. I would try to go out for a walk early in the morning and I'd still come back just dripping and beet red.
Yep.
So great for my complexion. Get all that stuff sweat out. So normally I make either my own chicken broth or my own vegetable broth, neither of which I had. I do, however, have bouillon cubes. So I would not, if you don't have to use them, it's probably preferable not to. But this is what I had. They're almost all gone. And I've had them for a while. So I think what I will do maybe next month is on having some of these basic things, like making your own chicken broth or your own vegetable broth. And because they just are so important to have. Normally I make my chickens and then make the broth and I put them in mason jars and then I freeze them.
Mhm.
And I have used them. They came in handy.
Yeah.
And then like with the vegetables here that I'm using, I put 4 cups of water, and then the bouillon cubes. And I'm just putting that in, and I'm gonna let it cook up for a while and come to a boil. This is the other lovely thing too about lentils versus other beans. One, you really don't need to soak them. You can if you want that added nutrition, but it's not like it has a phytic acid or anything that so many other beans and legumes do have. So that's another reason that I usually have. I have people, I have friends that will go like to the food shelf or something, and then I end up with all their lentils because they don't want to eat their lentils. I'm like, you guys are not. So
That's sad.
it's, yeah, very sad. Anyway, so that's one of those things that's really nice too about lentils. So they're something I usually always have on hand, for that very reason. Besides the fact it's just good. I mean, my kids grew up on lentil loaf and all that other type of stuff. The other thing
I made a lentil until I moved out on my own.
Oh, really?
I don't think it was a thing in Tennessee or in small town Tennessee where I was. I don't know that I ever saw one.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Minneapolis, and my family is Armenian. And so it was not an unusual thing for us to have lentils and like a lentil salad, something like that. And another interesting thing, so the Midwest is kind of known for its blandness. My husband is 95% Norwegian and 5% Swedish, and he grew up Lutheran, and so salt and pepper. And so then he meets me, who I grew up with spice and stuff like this. And say the first year of our marriage, he spent a lot of the time in the bathroom because he he had to adjust. And he's much better now. So some of the other spices I'm going to put in, I have some crushed red pepper. I put a bay leaf in, and I'm going to just sprinkle in. This is where I just kind of go, that looks good. I use my intuition, the sway test. And it's like, I can, as I'm doing it, I can feel like, yep, that's enough. Or, keep sprinkling, baby. We really need that. And then I've got some oregano. I thought I had some Italian spices, but I didn't find any. And let's see. I think that was it. Oh, I do often put in thyme. I thought I had some thyme I took out. Oh, there it is. Never can have enough time. Just what you do with it. And I didn't do as much herb gardening this summer because I like to grow my herbs and then dehydrate them. So I have them. Oh, you're in a different position.
I stood. I got tired of sitting, so.
I don't blame you. Good for you. That's a good thing. Smells good. What would you put in your lentil soup or any soup?
So I'm actually fairly new with herbs. And so I used what I call the dump and pour method. I just like, I think I'll try sage, or I think I'll try this. And so I like having a recipe because it narrows me down a little bit.
Well, so as I looked at what I put in, I did put in just the one bay leaf, and I probably put in about a half a teaspoon of oregano and a quarter to half a teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes. And the other thing I'm going to do to temper some of the acidity in some of this is I'm going to put some lemon in. So I had it on like a medium high heat. And now I've turned it down to low to simmer. And I'm just going to put this cover on. And I'll get my lemon. I'm going to juice the lemon, and I'm going to put a little zest from the peel in there.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of zings it up a little bit.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. I've always loved anything lemon related. So
Well, how's your lemon tree doing right now?
oh, it's doing fine and dandy. I had a gal helping me do some organizing around here the other day, and she went home with a bunch of lemons.
Oh, well, anytime. I'll let you know when I come out to California.
Yeah, if you were closer.
Yeah. I've often wondered if I could grow them indoors here. I just fear that it's probably not conducive to it.
You probably could. If you have a good sunny
that?
window. You
Yeah.
probably could if you have a good sunny window.
And put it
You'd
out.
have to keep it. You'd have to keep it pared down so it doesn't get too big, but
Yeah, you get one of those smaller ones.
yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I ever move from here and go back to Tennessee like I've thought about doing, I'd take lemon seeds from here and take them with me and try and start something there.
Yeah.
Like you said, in a window probably, or in a greenhouse or something.
Yeah. I have one of those arrow gardens, but that wouldn't work with a lemon tree.
No.
In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm zesting my lemon peel. Put in.
So I've never put in lemon in a soup, so.
In a soup? Oh, yeah, yeah. It's it helps with the acidity, but it also just kind of jazzes up the flavor a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. If you try it, I'd love to know what your opinion is.
Okay. I will.
Yeah. Okay. Just looking here. See what else might be in here. If there is anything else in here. I put green chilies in, but my husband is not going to be fond of that, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so This is my ground beef.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna put that much in there. I'm just gonna put like a handful in there.
So what, you cooked it up and froze?
Yep.
That's smart. Because there's a
Yeah,
lot
that
of times. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's a lot of times it would be nice to have just a little bit of that to put in something.
Exactly, without having to cook up the whole pound or whatever. When I had all 7 of my kids here, as they were growing up, I would buy those 10-pound tubes of hamburger.
Sure.
And then I would cook the whole thing up. And sometimes I'd cook it up I'd cook part of it, just the hamburger itself. Sometimes I would cut up some onions and saute that part up.
Yeah.
And then I just freeze it. And it was always on hand. Like if I wanted to make a quick chili, because I always had the beans done and, everything was ready. So all I had to do was like, and
So how do you keep your ground beef after it's cooked from becoming one big solid block of ice?
well, after you let it cool,
Yeah.
and then sometimes I would lay it out on like a baking sheet and then freeze it that way,
Oh,
and
okay.
then put it in its storage container.
Okay.
The other thing that I would often do is buy, I don't know, 3 or 4 whole chickens. And then I usually would cook up 2 at a time, like roast them.
Mhm.
And then, so we'd have one dinner that was roast chicken. And then we would take all the meat off and freeze that and then make the chicken broth. So I just was always buying in bulk, and so many things I would cook ahead of time, and just, I often would freeze it, but there's a lot of things that I've been doing more like dehydrating, because you just never know, especially during these storms, when the power is going to go out.
Sure.
So, yeah. One of the things I was going to say, sometimes what I did with my kids when we'd make lentil soup, just because they needed more in their gut, I would make dumplings. And you can make dumplings using other, you don't have to use white flour for it. You can use your coconut flour, your almond flour, something like that. And you can use the coconut oil or and your almond milk or whatever, and just make that paste and you plop it on and right at the very end. And what happens is it lays on there with the cover on. And this is where it's nice to have a glass cover, because you can see it without having to lift it off and ruin it, but it steams it. And like I said, at least with my kids, it was just that extra thing they needed to give a little bulk in the stomach so they didn't get hungry quite so frequently, especially with boys. Telling you, they got quite hungry easily. I usually averaged because I made my own bread, about 10 loaves a week easily. Wow. So, yep. So, bless me. Trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, always lots of beans. Sometimes for dinner I would have pinto beans, fried onions, maybe cook up some collard greens or turnip greens or something. And then there was one thing that they really liked. It's called hoe cakes. It came it got its name because farmers used to take like a cornmeal mush and they would put it on like their hose or something, and it would bake. And so they're like a fry cake. But again, it was just very simple, and but it filled all their needs and their tummies. But yeah, so there were always things like the beans, the rice, brown rice, whatever was outside. I became really familiar with burdock root. We would go around on walks and collect things like acorns, and we would soak them and make like a slurry out of it, and then you dehydrate it, and I would add it to the flour, and it added extra protein to the flour, plus it had a really nice nutty flavor. It always surprises me when we were talking about the lentils, the types of things people don't realize that they have. Cran apples, those little cran apples, they would just let them go. They didn't. Yeah. So I started, can I pick your cran apples? Crab apples, that's what I meant to say, not cran apples, crab apples. Rhubarb was another one. My kids and I got to be very efficient at looking around and seeing what was there. When you dig for weeds in the cracks, we'd find purslane, so much vitamin C in purslane. Plantain, the weed. So rose hips. They just, of course, now they're just like, they'll call me when they're not feeling well. But other than that, they're like, think I'm silly.
Yeah.
I think I'm silly, which is fine. They have to figure that part out for themselves, just like I did.
Yep.
So, but they know who the resource is. What kind of things do you do to put up for bulk preparedness type stuff?
Judy, you want to go first?
Well, I haven't done much in the way of that. I need to think about that. I did have water put away for preparedness in case things went, we had a quake or something. But then I had all these 1 gallon jugs down on the bottom shelf here, and when I cleaned things out in the pantry not long ago, I realized they'd been in there many years, and I probably ought not to depend on them. So I need to fix that. But I keep rice and beans and things like that. I got a lot of beans around. In fact, I actually bought a ham hock the other day I was going to make a good old what they call Senate bean soup, the one that they do at the on the Capitol at their restaurant there.
That's Senate, SENATE. Yes, that's right. I have heard of it. So they use like a white bean, right?
It's a white bean and not much else. I throw a ham hock in it, and I've seen some recipes where they chop up onion and carrot and stuff like that and put in it. And I thought, well, I got those. I could do that. I either need to freeze the ham hock for later, or use it before it goes bad. But I got lots of beans. Like a good one.
Yeah, you just have to. Those are the kind where you want to soak the beans, like put the beans in water at night before you go to bed.
Usually I just let them cook longer, and they'll be all right.
Okay.
Because I'm never that organized to think to put them out to soak before. But I do have a lot of beans. In fact, I bought black-eyed peas for New Year's and then didn't fix them. I found this one little frozen meal that had some black-eyed peas in it, so I could have some. But I didn't didn't make a pot of them for,
Yeah,
that's a good Southern tradition, beans
Yep.
and greens. And,
with collards.
Yeah.
oh, with some kind of green, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually,
Yep, I remember that.
I'm not a big collards fan.
Okay.
I would more often than not just steam some spinach or something.
That works. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
I have an appointment I have to go to, so I'm gonna bid you adieu.
Okay.
Good to meet you.
Good
Nice
to
to
see
meet
you
you.
here.
Nice to see you too. All right.
Yeah.
See you soon.
All
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, just whatever you can do to be prepared for those times that, like this, with us with the winter weather and the blizzard, and then during the summertime we do get storms and tornadoes and things, but
Yeah.
you get earthquakes.
We haven't had one in a good long while
Good.
of any import. Though I must say, last summer there was a swarm of of small ones, like in the
Oh yeah.
1 point something to 2 point something, which you don't feel unless you're sitting on top of them. And apparently I discovered with the Quake Feed app that I have, there's
Oh.
like 2 horizontal lines that go across the map like that, and they're right on either side of my house.
Oh, well, isn't that fun?
Yeah, I forget what the fault lines are called, but small fault lines there that. But we had
Okay.
a swarm of them in this neighborhood last summer for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
there.
I remember that now that you mention that.
Well, that wouldn't even have made the news.
No, you had mentioned it.
Oh,
You
I
had mentioned it. Yeah. I have 2 boys that live in the Salt Lake area, and one of them was actually tossed out of his bed because they had an earthquake. And, growing up here, he was like, what was that? And his wife is from California. So she's like, oh, let me introduce you. Of course, they were still surprised because, that wasn't what they were expecting. But
No.
yeah, so it's so you just don't know what's going to happen. And it's always good to have something to be prepared because you don't know when the electricity is going to go out. And sometimes don't they ration the electricity out there? Like,
It's more about lately it's been more about in the really fire prone areas when
right.
the Santa Ana winds are blowing, they might preemptively turn off the electricity in the really fire prone areas, which
Yeah.
that would not be fun to have that happen.
No, and if I remember correctly too, it wasn't just like for an hour or two, it was like for a day or two sometimes. And so again, that's when it's good to have things like this and have alternative ways of making food, because we are pretty dependent on electricity. So
I remember when there was one big quake here that rattled us. It was more up in LA that it did some damage, but down here in Orange County, it really didn't, except it shook us all up, and it was in the wee hours of the morning. Everybody pops out of their condo door, and we're all standing in the courtyard going, oh boy.
right.
Somebody says, well, we're up. Why don't I make some coffee? We're going, how are you going to do that? Well, it's a gas stove. I'll put a match to it so it'll light, because it has an electric starter on it.
Right.
But once they got it started, then they made coffee.
You're okay. Yep. And if you're out in California, it's probably easier for you to do like an outdoor grill type thing, a gas grill.
Actually, my little grill, I use it so seldom, I didn't want to deal with the
propane,
the charcoal or the propane. I actually have an electric grill.
Oh.
Outdoors. It was cheap. What the heck?
Yeah. Well, you know, you could always get one of those little camping stoves and you just have the little thing of propane and you could do something
Yeah.
like that. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, I used to have one of those. I don't know what.
Hold on one second. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Lucas? Lucas? What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. Bye.
Okay. Are you about ready to go?
I
Okay,
gotta go shave.
okay, just let me know when you're ready to go. Okay,
Hat and gloves are that I could use.
they're all right there. And there's some up there as well. No, in that bin. Right here, right here. Hats and gloves. There you go. Yeah, standard apparel these days, hats and gloves and scarves.
Oh, yeah. So
Well,
you're gonna have to run somebody to work or something here?
Yeah, I have to, we need to leave a little earlier than normal just to make sure that we don't know what all the roads are like. Under normal circumstances, here. This is Matt. Where's your house? She's in
I need
California.
money.
Yeah, you're silly. She's in California. Under normal circumstances, it takes 30 minutes, but I said, let's try to leave 45 minutes to an hour beforehand. He has to be to work at 4. So anyway, and then my husband was called in to work. So, because otherwise he was going to do it. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's already 3, so your
Yep.
time.
So we're gonna be taking off. He just went to go finish shaving and I'll make sure that the car is done and ready to go.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so you made a big pot of,
I made
Whatever
a
you
big
have to
pot
do.
of lentil soup. Here, I've shut it off. And see if you can see it here. Oh, so you can see the steam. Can you see
I
the steam?
see steam. I see
I
lots
see
of
steam too.
Yeah, I
Well-
see some soup down in there.
Oh, well. Well, this is what soup is all about, keeping us warm. I'll probably add a little more liquid to it.
Yeah,
Not much, you know. I like more a soup than a stew, but you know, you can see that didn't take that long and it's done. And there's enough there that it'll probably last us a couple days.
can't beat
So-
that.
Can't beat that, especially when it's chilly out. So,
Well, I'm inspired. I think I'll go make soup too.
yay. Well, let us know how it goes.
All right.
All right. You stay safe, stay warm, and have a great day.
You too.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.